Welcome to the first part of my playthrough of Fear and Hunger. The game begins, allowing us to pick between four characters with their class: the Mercenary, the Knight, the Dark Priest, and the Outlander. Based on character design alone, I decided to pick the Outlander, who's supposedly the epitome of survival. I decided to play the game on normal difficulty as I've heard rumors of how unforgiving this game is, and I'm just looking for a normal first playthrough experience. After I finish choosing the difficulty, this leads into the intro sequence, detailing my life's journey as the Outlander and how I managed to make it to the dungeon in the first place. It turns out that after a voyage to Vinland, I found an artifact that gave me an evil omen. My home village ended up being raided by mercenaries, and my artifact was stolen from me. In order to exact my revenge, I chased after the captain who led the mercenary army Knights of the Midnight Sun all the way to the dungeon of Fear and Hunger. When the game starts, I quickly scrounge up any item that I can find and kick a dead horse. I then hear the barking of dogs closing in, so I quickly make my way inside the dungeon entrance. After making my way through the dungeon, it becomes painfully dark and eerie. I can't see far in front of me, and it makes me wary of what's to come. However, this didn't stop the survivalist in me. I quickly go through all the shelves to see what I find, and end up discovering a Book of Enlightenment and an Alchemist's book. I quickly read them both to uncover their knowledge, and it also allows me to somehow save. After some more exploration, I come across my very first enemy, a prison guard. I immediately shoot at it with my bow and miss my first shot. I then shoot and hit it a few times before initiating combat. When the fight officially begins, I see a giant hulking beast standing in front of me with a supposed stinger between its legs. I take heavy damage, but I end up shooting out its legs beneath it, which allows me to get a critical headshot and take it out. I then suck out its soul using my soul stone, take the food it had, and went on my way after beating him to make sure that it was truly dead. After that encounter, I looked for supplies and where to go next to further my adventure, and I end up finding a ritual circle, but with no one to love, I can't do much with it. I also found a statue depicting new gods that looked very human-like. I continue on my way and find the courtyard, a place where people are hanging off of posts like tire swings. Within the courtyard, I find a well and quickly make my way down it, as I didn't want to find the person responsible for hanging all those men. At the bottom of the well, I find a chest and a small pile of bones. I fail a series of coin flips and only get a cloth hood from all the areas that I search. Scratch that, I also find a bunch of weird looking octopus monsters, and I do my best to avoid them. I run away, and I end up back at the very beginning of the dungeon. However, unlike before, I decide to explore a little bit more, and I find a little girl in a cage who doesn't want to speak to me. I try to get her out, but I have no items that allow me to, so I decided to leave her be and come back later when I can get her out. I press on and find some weird-looking priests commencing a sacrifice, so I ignore them and search through their stuff and steal another alchemist book. And just a room away, I find a disgusting-looking human hydra and run away from it after it asks for human flesh. I then stick my hand in an arrow trap and take some damage, and then have to heal. After some meandering, I find a library and steal all the books that I can find. Ended up meeting a dark priest named Inky, and he didn't want to speak with me. However, behind Inky, there's a secret passageway that I find into the backyard, and I find a dagger for the child. This gives me more of an incentive to free the kid, so I can give them the dagger and help them escape the dungeon. I go back to the cage to try and find a new way to let the girl out, and it turns out that I had a key. But then even after letting her out, she had little to say. Despite that, I still gave her the dagger and trusted that she wouldn't stab me in the back when no one was looking. We continue as a newly founded party, and then almost instantly fall down a hole. Luckily, there was a bed so we could save our progress. However, when I tried to save, I lost the coin flip. We were attacked by a guard, I lost my arm, and I could no longer use my bow. So I just decided to restart the run. I ended up back where I saved when I found the Book of Enlightenment and just retraced all my steps. And don't worry, I won't show you all that process because nothing new happened. After getting back to where I originally was, I talked to the human Hydra again and asked to eat the little girl. We promptly left as I was not going to give up a new party member, and we ended up finding an injured knight. I spoke to him, and I proceeded to loot his entire armory and equipped anything I could to my Outlander and the little girl. We then come across a leveled up version of the prison guard. I managed to show off its arms before it made it to us, and after taking minimal damage we slay it and go on with our day. After some more walking, we start sinking to the floor as if it was quicksand, and I end up in an area that I've never seen before. I looted for what it's worth, but quickly try to escape after an entity spawns and circles my party while it laughs deviously. After finding a door with a blinding light coming through it, the girl and I escape and make our way back outside the dungeon where we find a merchant. I buy a potion from him and move on past the priest that we found earlier. I hear footsteps down the hall and prepare for battle. Instead, we're met with a wealthy-looking man who's scared for his life. I leave him be and run down the hall full of courage and get the opportunity to ambush an unsightly-looking torturer. I chop off his head in one hit and return to the wealthy man angrily because he let the torturer walk right past him, which put me and the girl in danger. Sadly, I didn't get the option to kill him, so I just slept in his bed instead and finally get to save the game after almost an hour of progress. After looting the torturer, I found a key that allowed us to go down deeper into the dungeon. However, we immediately turned back because it looked scary. The girl and I then go to fight the priests that were doing the sacrifice, and the girl almost dies. Luckily, we win, and I quickly fill her health back up after we stomp on their bodies. We then return to the prison, and we find the guard that attacked us last time. I shoot off his arm, and then we proceed to fight. Thankfully, I took him down with one slash, and then we proceed to loot, beat, and skin him. We then find a second prison guard, and after realizing that I was out of arrows or items to help us fight him, I decided to be a man and fight him head on. I managed to cut off his arm that was holding his cleaver, and with an absolutely huge stroke of luck, the girl uses her dagger with precision and cuts off his head. I've honestly never been so proud. I searched the room the guards were defending and found a lever. I pull it, but without knowing what it did, I just kept exploring the prison area. However, before trying to do anything major, I attempted to save because I didn't want to lose all my progress again. So with a shaky hand, I managed to flip the coin, and I lost the toss. We get attacked in our sleep by some monster, but thank God we beat it, suck out its soul, and managed to properly save. We lose some rooms and find a mercenary named Kahara, and happy to have another party member, I let him join me. I also give the little girl a doll, and she seemed ecstatic. It made me so happy to have a new party member that we killed some cave gnomes for fun. Next, my party made its way back into the red zone, but the mercenary betrayed me and took all my cash. If I ever find him again, I think I'll probably just kill him or beat him to the guards. However, on a more positive note, it turns out the lever gave us access to an elevator, but that's a story for another day.